Hello, and on behalf of Thomson Holidays, we hope you're enjoying today's flight. Thomson have arranged for some great things for you to do whilst you're in Florida, and we'll be taking a look at what's on offer in just a few minutes. First though, let's have a look at what you can expect when you arrive. Getting through Orlando Airport should not be a problem if you follow the correct signs. If you're on a flight that's already cleared Customs and Immigration in Bangor, then please bear with us. For those of you who haven't been through these procedures, let's have a look at exactly what happens. The first things you're going to need are the immigration forms that you completed on board the aircraft, and of course your passport. After clearing immigration, you'll collect your bags and proceed through customs, handing in your completed declaration as you go. We'll see you on the other side. It's a long way from customs to the main terminal, so you'll be taking your bags and putting them back on this conveyor belt and getting the monorail over to baggage claim. With no suitcases to carry, you should have no problem. It's a short ride over to the main terminal, and there's a train along every couple of minutes. Those of you whose flight has already cleared in Bangor can head straight for the monorail when you arrive. When you get off the monorail, follow the signs to baggage claim A. That's where your Thomson team will be waiting to greet you and where everybody finally gets their bags. Collect your luggage, then check in at the Thomson desk, where you'll be given a driver's information card that you should fill in on the way to Dollar Rent-A-Car. You'll also be given an invitation to tomorrow's welcome get-together, but more about that later. First, we're going to go downstairs to the ground floor and get the Dollar bus over to the car hire depot. While you're on the bus, your Thomson rep will go over some of the insurance options and make sure that you've filled out the driver's information card correctly. When you get to the depot, only the driver need go inside. Everyone else can wait outside in the sunshine. Don't forget your driver's license. Thank you. Don't forget, although the car hire is free, there are certain compulsory charges and taxes that apply, so you'll need a credit card or some traveller's checks. We also recommend you take out the collision damage waiver insurance so you don't have to leave a large deposit. When you've collected your keys, your Thomson rep will give you precise directions for your hotel, and your Dollar service agent will pull up your car and load your luggage. Now, I've chosen a convertible instead of the basic car included with the holiday. If you want to upgrade, just tell the Dollar agent. It's no problem at all. Right now, it's time to have a look at some of the great places you'll be visiting. Discount tickets for all of these will be on offer at tomorrow's welcome get-together, so we'll see you there. Right now, it's time for some fun. Bye-bye. We're in the Magic Kingdom, here at the Walt Disney World Resort. Magic is certainly the word. There's something here for absolutely everyone. And if you plan your days carefully, you'll have a wonderful time. Behind me is the new Splash Mountain, a delightful combination of thrills and fairy tales. This Song of the South has a quite spectacular ending. When you visit the Magic Kingdom, start early so you have plenty of time to see all 7 lands of fun, fantasy and entertainment. Splash Mountain is one of several brand new rides that will excite and delight return visitors to the park. It features all the inhabitants of that very famous Briar Patch. A hot new favourite is Spectro Magic. Nobody does a parade like Disney, and this is no exception. The choices are endless. A thrilling ride inside Space Mountain, a runaway train through the days of the old gold rush, the revitalised Carousel of Progress, and so much more. Come along and discover a truly magical place where dreams really do come true. Now this is definitely a home away from home. The British Pavilion at Epcot. This is an amazing place. You're going to go around the world, back in time and into the future. So, you better get a move on. When you begin your visit to Epcot, head for the Multicultural World Showcase, where you can explore 11 nations, Italian piazzas, Moroccan bazaars, Canadian frontiers, Mexican markets and Norwegian fjords. Stop by the British Toy Shop. Then it's Chinese pagodas, Japanese traditions, German beer gardens, French fountains, and an American adventure. Every night in World Showcase, make sure you catch Illuminations. Future World is an ever-changing technological wonder and an exciting look into the innovations of the future. Make sure you experience Body Wars, an amazing trip through the human body. Epcot is a fascinating tour of tomorrow's world and today's. Aladdin has proved to be a huge hit, and if you've seen this wonderful piece of animation, you'll know why. You can watch it all come to life here at the Disney MGM Studios in Aladdin's Royal Caravan. It features the lad himself, Princess Jasmine, and of course that amazing genie, Shazam! What's real and what's not? At the Disney MGM Studios, it's hard to tell. One minute you're completely submerged in the music and fantasy of Beauty and the Beast. Next thing you run slap bang into a star on Hollywood Boulevard. It's action all the way in the Indiana Jones epic stunt spectacular. Star Tours is light years ahead. And take a look at what lies behind the magic of Disney animation. Catastrophe Canyon will have you shaking all over on the backstage studio tour. And talking of shivers, wait till you see the Tower of Terror. We won't spoil the surprise. There is no place like the Disney MGM Studios to see the stars, be a star, and enjoy the magic of motion pictures from every angle. If you've ever wondered what it was like to swim on a reef a la Jacques Cousteau, then now's the time to grab your snorkel. Typhoon Lagoon is not only home to some superb water rides, it's a great chance to get your feet wet. Don't worry, you are the biggest fish in here, but you might be surprised at the company you'll be keeping. The focal point of Typhoon Lagoon is the wreckage of the unfortunate Miss Tilly. Legend has it she was stranded high atop Mount Mayday by an imaginary tropical storm. Guests can relax here and enjoy the Florida sunshine. Then they can ride the crest of a giant surf wave that runs all the way to the beach. As for the kids, Ketcha Kiddie Creek provides tons of fun just for them, and the Humunga Cowabunga is definitely a case of hang on to your shorts. On the waves or down below, Typhoon Lagoon is great fun. New Year's Eve every night? It could only happen on Pleasure Island. 7 great nightclubs and a great selection of restaurants. It's Old Lang Syne as you've never seen it before. The Adventurers Club hails back to the glorious days of the Raj, while down the street you can come right up to date in Mannequins, consistently voted the #1 dance club in the southeastern USA. If two-stepping's what you enjoy best, then the Neon Armadillo may be the place. Have a laugh at the Comedy Warehouse. Or what about listening to some really great jazz? Happy New Year! Don't forget that Disney's multi-day tickets are the best value, and you can get yours at the Welcome Get-Together. Admission to everything you've just seen, plus Discovery Island, Disney's Nature Reserve, and River Country and old-fashioned swimming hole is included. Anyway, time to move on. Let's have a look at some of the other great things on offer. Many people who visit Florida return home without having seen anything of the state's wilder side. Those of you who enjoy exploring the backwoods and waterways will definitely appreciate Silver Springs, a natural oasis that's thousands of years old and quite literally a breath of fresh air. Above the waterline there are 100 acres of landscape parks and gardens where you're welcome to stroll and take it easy. Step back in time amongst a superb collection of antique and classic cars, or discover the thrilling and informative shows at the Reptile Institute. The Children's Petting Zoo provides a hands-on learning experience in more ways than one, and the whole family will enjoy exploring Florida's backwoods the easy way. Thousands of fish abound in the world's largest artesian spring formation, and you can actually feed them from the boat. Many of the old Tarzan movies were made on location here, and you'll get a superb view of the African wildlife on the Jungle Cruise. From the animal shows to the Lost River Voyage, from the glass-bottom boats to an intimate look at the natural world, you'll have a wonderful day at Florida's Silver Springs. We try and keep you right up to date with any new developments at the major attractions, and that's why we're here today at Wet n Wild. Behind me is The Surge, a brand new ride for this year where the whole family can get wet together on one enormous slide. Every possible way of getting from top to bottom, side to side, twisting and turning, and slipping and sliding. That's Wet n Wild. Swimmers and non-swimmers alike can splash their way around 25 acres of pure fun, or simply soak up the sunshine on Orlando's beach within reach. Der Stuka is a virtual freefall you won't forget. When they say come on down here, they really mean it, so hold on to your swimsuit. Bubble up or just go with the flow on the delightful lazy river. Keeping cool in the Sunshine State is easy at Wet n Wild. So you want to be in pictures? Well, this is the place. This is part of the backlot here at Universal Studios Florida. A true taste of Hollywood and home to some very familiar faces. Hello, Marilyn. You guys look around, we'll be back in just a minute. Universal Studios Florida is the largest working motion picture and television facility outside of Hollywood. Attractions based on hit films and television shows take you on and off the set, where you can relive thrilling scenes and action sequences that have made entertainment history. Soar across the sky with E.T., before being shaken by earthquake, terrorized by King Kong, or spooked by Ghostbusters. If that's not enough, follow the crowds and go back to the future. Special effects are everywhere, featuring the creative consultation of the one and only Steven Spielberg. Oh, and by the way, just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water, look who shows up. Universal Studios Florida, your chance to ride the movies. You know, there's something very fishy about a visit to SeaWorld. Nobody here says a great deal, but you get the impression they know exactly what's going on and exactly what time dinner is served. SeaWorld is where you'll find Shamu and Baby Shamu, and some of the world's finest marine life exhibits. It's a great place to begin your vacation and very easy to get around. Marvel at magnificent killer whales and laugh at comical penguins. Get face-to-face with Florida's manatees, endearing and endangered. With more than 20 aquatically themed shows and exhibits, there's something for all ages. Only at SeaWorld can you get acquainted with such a variety of marine animals on a personal basis. Great shows that happen all day and into the evening. SeaWorld is a place to enjoy nature whilst learning from it. From hilarious sea lions and lovable dolphins to mysterious sharks and majestic killer whales, SeaWorld is a full day of fun and excitement for everyone. Busch Gardens is one of Florida's best-kept secrets. This isn't the bush in question, but you will enjoy your day in darkest Africa, along with some of the best white-knuckle thrill rides anywhere in the world. The Dark Continent is an adventure for people of all ages, and the sights and sounds of a modern-day safari will long be remembered. Hop aboard the Transvelt Railroad to track down one of the largest collections of free-roaming animals in the USA. Stroll through African villages and discover the treasures of exotic street bazaars as beautiful belly dancers and snake charmers weave their special magic. Questor is a fantasy voyage in search of the Crystal of Zed, or if that's not enough, you can catch a ride on the awesome Kumba or cool off on the Congo River Rapids. The excitement never ends with these action-packed thrill rides. But if plunging down the Tanganyika tidal wave isn't for you, then don't forget. Busch Gardens is also home to the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, so cheers! When the Beach Boys first sang about surfing USA, this probably isn't what they had in mind. Take a boogie board, a man-made wave, and what do you get? This is Wipeout, and it's the latest surfing craze here at Watermania. Cool!
Watermania means outdoor fun for the whole family. Get wet in style on rides that range from fun to downright heart-thumping. It's sun, fun, and lots of water. Wipeout is where the surf is always up and where the thrills and spills are guaranteed. Watch out for riptide, catch some rays on Cruising Creek, or snake down the Anaconda. Kids have special areas like the rainforest downsized to their requirements. It's great if you happen to be a little squirt. With all these great rides, making a splash is easy at Watermania.
A visit to China is probably not something you were expecting to do this year. Well, this is Florida's splendid China, complete with fascinating miniatures of some of China's best-known landmarks. This is the amazing Terracotta Army, and each one of these soldiers has been individually handmade. It provides a fascinating insight into life in the Orient.
Splendid China features reproductions of over 60 of China's most famous historic and cultural sites. Perhaps the most recognisable is the impressive hand-built replica of the Great Wall. It consists of over 6 million bricks. Spectacular live entertainment combines traditional beauty and power, and the martial arts demonstrations are sure to thrill one and all. The craftsmanship of the Chinese artisans is both beautiful and intricate, and requires a great deal of patience. This same attention to detail is found throughout the park. Splendid China is also your chance to sample some of the finest Chinese cuisine, so bring a healthy appetite.
At some point on this holiday, you might want to take it easy for a day, as all that walking can take it out of you. Anyone in need of a breather should consider heading for the remote paradise of Marco Island on Florida's southwest coast.
Marco Island is a great place to unwind and relax. 1 or 2 day tours are available, and your first stop is Everglades City. A fascinating nature walk is followed by an airboat adventure that skims you across acres and acres of pristine Florida wilderness. The Everglades are teeming with wildlife, so keep an eye out for alligators. Next, it's all aboard for a fun-filled cruise around the magnificent intercoastal waterway, and with any luck, you'll be joined by curious dolphins. Finish the day at a luxurious beachside resort. Explore your surroundings, catch a few rays, or cool off in the hotel pool before one last Florida sunset and the journey home.
Church Street Station is right in the heart of downtown Orlando. At night, this place literally buzzes with bluegrass, country and western, traditional jazz and good old rock and roll. They say there's something here for absolutely everyone, and they're probably right.
Rosie O'Grady's Good Time Jazz Emporium features a live show from the turn of the century, Red Hot Mamas, a classic American jazz band, and waitresses who turn a can-can along the top of the bar. Enjoy bluegrass music in Apolani's courtyard, or country and western in the spectacular Cheyenne Saloon with real-life cowboys and cowgirls. Top 40 American dance music is what you'll find in Phineas Fogg's Balloon Works. The music is continuous, and there is something to suit all possible tastes. If you're in the mood for love, consider a candlelit dinner at Lillimar Lanes. Beautiful food and excellent service make for a great night out.
Howdy, y'all. This is Wild Bill's here at Fort Liberty, one of the great dinner theatres run by Orlando Entertains. A 4-course dinner, unlimited beer, wine and soft drinks, the tax and the tip are all included in the price. And don't forget, it's a family affair, so bring the kids.
Wild Bill's is a Wild West dinner show and trading post. Kids, this is your chance to meet some real Native American Indians, great costumes and a real-life history lesson. Look out for Miss Kitty and her dancing girls. The food is great, and so are the speciality acts. World-renowned rope spinners, gunslingers and archers will soon have you yelling for more.
Eating out in America is a real treat. Restaurants offer a great variety, huge portions and very friendly service. To whet your appetites, here's a look at the very popular Bennigan's and Steak and Ale.
Eating out was never supposed to be this much fun. Bennigan's is especially well known for a wide selection of great appetizers and generous sandwiches. In this warm, friendly atmosphere, family or friends will feel right at home. A casual setting that offers great value for money. Whether it's lunch, dinner or drinks with friends, Bennigan's will definitely put a smile on your face. Steak and ale. Two things beloved by many Brits, and you won't be disappointed. Generous cuts of choice US beef, heaped baked potatoes and a build-your-own salad bar. Steak and ale will satisfy the heartiest of appetites, and the excellent service brings people back again and again. You won't just have a meal, you'll have a great time.
As you can see, planning out your holiday is essential. This is the Thomson Service Centre on International Drive in Orlando, and you'll also find one in Kissimmee. If you need information or discount attraction tickets, there's a Thomson rep here to help you 7 days a week.
If you can't make it in person, you'll find the telephone number for the service centres in your Thomson Resort magazine, which you'll be given when you arrive.
On behalf of everyone at Thomson, have a great holiday. Don't forget the welcome get-together tomorrow morning. A little bit of local knowledge will save you lots of time and money. Enjoy what's left of your flight, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. Bye-bye. Hi there. Every year around 1 million British holidaymakers come here to Florida, many for a second or third time. Why? Well, the weather obviously, and there's so much to see and do, which is why for virtually every family and group, a rental car is an essential part of their holiday package.
Many Britons have already experienced driving on the right-hand side of the road on the continent. But there are numerous American driving conventions which are totally different from those in Europe.
This is not to say that driving here is difficult. In fact, quite the opposite. Visitors from the UK quickly get the hang of it.
I mean, I thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I mean, didn't have any hassles with the driving at all, really, do we?
There was no problem. In fact, after the first couple of days, I found it a quite kind of relaxed environment in the car.
The cars are excellent. More or less drive themselves.
Driving is really easy. I did all the driving when we were here, more or less, and no problem at all.
Beautiful driving over here compared to the UK. Beautiful.
No problem driving this jet. It's a lot easier than in England, in my opinion.
Mind you, I think the drivers here are far more courteous than at home.
Easy to drive, no problems, people are friendly. It's the first time I've been to America, yeah, found it no problem whatsoever.
Just take your time and
and then as soon as you're out on the roads, the air conditioning goes on, and you're on your own holiday.
So that doesn't sound too tough, does it? And we hope this video will help prepare you with hints and information on the driving here, and a look at the layout of the state's main roads. As with any trip abroad, there's also safety advice to be heeded. But first of all, let's take a look at what's likely to happen when you arrive.
At the airport, your holiday company's local representatives will meet and greet you, and you'll be invited to a welcome briefing the following day at a convenient location.
For many of you, the first stop after the airport will be the car rental depot. Now, for the purposes of this video, we're going to be featuring this Chrysler LeBaron convertible. It's so much easier for our cameras to see into and out of the car. There are, of course, a wide range of vehicles for you to choose from, and you can upgrade at any time during your holiday. Vehicle insurance in the US is different, so make sure you fully understand the type of cover you've signed for. Your tour operator's representative should provide the precise directions to your accommodation. So make sure before you leave the rental depot, you've got a good map, that you understand the correct route, and that you're fully conversant with the car's controls. A representative of the car rental company should be on hand to assist you.
The positioning and operation of even the more basic features may not be familiar. Check that you have not only found the indicators, lights, screen wash, wipers and so on, but understand how they actually work.
Driving will be made easier by the fact that most rental cars are automatic. But if you haven't driven one before, don't worry. The main thing to remember is that there isn't a clutch, just a brake and an accelerator.
On an automatic shift, D for drive will be the only forward gear setting needed because there are few hills in Florida.
A comforting feature on most rental vehicles is a driver's side airbag, which inflates automatically in the event of an accident.
And some have cruise control, a preset speed setting that's really useful on longer journeys once you've got used to it. All rental cars have power brakes, power steering, and air conditioning to keep you cool. By law, drivers and front seat passengers must wear a seatbelt, and children under 4 or weighing less than 40 pounds must be strapped into a child seat.
Now, what about the roads themselves? Much of your driving will be done on major roads that are very similar to Britain's motorways and larger dual carriageways. These can be called expressways, but are also known by a variety of other names.
Each category of road, including main roads in urban areas and rural routes, have their own distinctive signage, and main routes are numbered. For successful navigation, it's essential to understand that for the purposes of signposting, roads only run either north-south, in which case they have an odd number, or east-west and have an even number.
So when a road runs diagonally across the state, its signposted direction is determined by the overall route it takes. This is best explained by an example. This is Interstate 4, or I-4 as it's known locally, and it's probably the most frequently used major road in central Florida.
On the map, I-4 runs more or less south to north past Orlando, but in fact it runs west to east across the state. So at intersections and exits, you'll only see signs for I-4 West or I-4 East.
To add to the confusion, as you can see behind me, it's quite possible to see two roads that appear to run in the same compass direction, but that actually run at right angles to one another. All this probably sounds totally bewildering. It is in fact quite logical once you've understood the logic. For successful navigation, you must try and get the hang of this as quickly as possible. Not all major roads are free to use. Toll booths are quite common, and you might go through several within the space of a few minutes, although the charges are very small. Most tolls have automatic booths. Simply toss the correct amount into the basket and drive on. However, some booths are manned and change will be given if required. Just make sure you get into the correct lane. Green for change and receipts and blue for exact change. So before you leave the car rental depot, make sure you have at least a small amount of American cash, as you may have to go through a toll booth on the way to your accommodation.
So, here's a reminder of your pre-driving checklist. Be certain that you understand the operation of all your vehicle's controls. Be sure that you have reliable written directions and a good local road map. Your car hire documents and driving licence should be with you at all times. And last but not least, wear your seatbelts and remember, drive on the right.
Just remember that advance warning signs for exits aren't always easy to spot, and you won't see the 3-2-1 countdowns you're used to on the motorways at home.
On most major roads, large rectangular green signs do display the upcoming exits, but don't rely on these to be on every road. As your required exit may come up very suddenly, you need to be prepared and know which side of the road it's on. In the States, slip roads and exits, called on and off ramps, can be on either side of the road. All this calls for advanced planning and concentration.
You won't be able to cross several lanes of moving traffic at short notice. When you do have to change lanes, make sure you indicate in plenty of time to allow the driver behind you to let you in.
If you ever take a wrong exit, never stop and then attempt to reverse against the flow of traffic. Carry on and use your map to get back onto the correct route. Being able to overtake on either side of another vehicle is useful, but again, it's something that requires getting used to. Speed limits need monitoring, as they can change quite abruptly. The maximum speed limit in Florida is generally 55 miles per hour, although there are some sections of rural main road where it is 65. There may also be a minimum speed limit displayed. Around town, limits are usually between 30 and 45 miles per hour. Speed limits are strictly enforced everywhere, and police officers will often conceal themselves in order to catch offenders.
At traffic lights, one American driving convention is very different from the UK. Being able to turn right on a red light is perhaps the single most confusing aspect of driving here, but it is in effect a very useful filter that facilitates the flow of traffic. Remember, traffic lights here are much higher up than in the UK, and they're suspended on wires above the junction.
Making a right turn at a red light is permitted at most intersections unless otherwise posted. Come to a complete stop and check very carefully in all directions before moving off. Never make a left turn at a junction without first giving way to all oncoming traffic. At some intersections, a green arrow is used to see you safely across. Only a green arrow gives you right of way. a normal green light does not. A normal green light means you must watch out for and yield to all oncoming traffic and wait for them to pass before turning left. They have the right of way. Please be very careful. Hanging above some less busy junctions, you'll see a flashing amber light. This indicates that vehicles approaching the junction can cross, but should proceed with caution. American road signs are largely similar to those in Europe. The most important when you first start driving are stop and yield. Stop means stop, not slow down at a junction and then look around before continuing. Yield means that the drivers on the road you are joining have right of way. At a four-way junction, American for a crossroads, all vehicles must stop. Priority to proceed is then given to the vehicle that arrived at the junction first.
Space is not a problem in Florida, so most parking is off the street and car parks are clearly signposted. At night, try and park in a well-lit area.
Never park in a space reserved for the disabled. When parking on the street, there are a number of other things to remember. Park only in the same direction as traffic flow. Avoid tow-away zones. Do not park opposite fire hydrants. And do not park on the curb. Parking tickets should be paid promptly, otherwise you'll be tracked down via the hire car company. The safety of school children is taken very seriously. School zones are clearly marked and you may see flashing warning lights to indicate a much reduced speed limit. And with their bright yellow livery, school buses are easily recognisable. If you come up behind a stationary school bus with its warning lights flashing, you must never overtake it. You must stop until its warning lights have been switched off. On a two-way street, road traffic in both directions must stop.
Uh-oh, looks like rain. Florida may be known as the Sunshine State, but it is subject to tropical weather. Sudden heavy downpours are very common, and these instantly make the road surface very slippery. This is known as Florida ice, and care should be taken when it comes to speed and braking distances. Some self-service gas stations require you to pay in advance. To start the fuel flowing, simply lift the lever and make sure you always use unleaded gasoline. Keep the tank fairly full and get in the habit of always checking the gas gauge to avoid having to leave your chosen route in search of a gas station.
You'll spot gas stations on urban and country roads, but there are no gas stations actually on major freeways or interstates. So generally you'll have to pull off these roads to fill up. On interstates, you'll see exits marked rest area. These will usually have toilets, telephones, vending machines and picnic areas, but no petrol. The only road that has the equivalent of British motorway services is the Florida Turnpike.
OK, we've got you all set with your rental car. Ahead of you, a couple of weeks to enjoy Florida. So, time to take off.
Florida is pretty much the same size as the British mainland. It's a peninsula, packed with a wide variety of resorts and attractions, from busy cities to laid-back beach towns. from theme parks to tropical islands. A unique mix that makes the state so popular with British visitors.
The safety advice given out for Florida and the US in general is no different to that recommended for most other overseas holidays, but there are some particularly relevant points when it comes to driving through densely populated urban areas. Tourists need not be unduly alarmed about their safety, but please heed the good advice given out by your tour operator and the Florida tourism organisations.
Keep your valuables safe in a room safe or hotel safety deposit box. When going out, only carry the amount of money you're likely to need. Remember that credit cards are widely accepted. Keep your room and car keys safe at all times. Always keep the doors and windows of your room locked. Use the safety chain and don't open the door to anyone unless they have identified themselves first. Avoid walking in unlit areas, even in hotel car parks. Always lock your vehicle and keep the keys with you. Never leave them in the ignition while it's unattended, even when on a quick errand. Don't leave valuables visible in your vehicle. Keep them in the boot. As all rental cars are air-conditioned, it is recommended that when driving through urban areas, windows remain shut and doors locked. In the unlikely event that another driver seems to have an ulterior motive for pulling you over, by telling you that your trunk is open or there's smoke coming from the car, the police and car hire companies advise that rather than pulling over immediately, you should drive to the nearest public area and then call for police assistance if necessary. Please note that the US equivalent of Britain's 999 is 911. If you do need to stop for directions, avoid poorly lit or sparsely populated areas. Pull into a well-lit gas station or a hotel entrance and only ask someone in authority such as the proprietor or manager.
Have fun when you're driving around, but try not to look too much like a tourist. And try not to leave tourist-type items like maps visible in the car when it's parked. Driving around in a convertible will make you feel cool in more ways than one. But do be careful. Florida is the sunshine state, and the sun's UV rays are very powerful. Make sure you wear a good sunscreen with the correct protection factor. When you're driving around busy urban areas, it's always a good idea to keep the roof of the car up. But remember, never operate the roof whilst the car is in motion, only when it's completely stationary.
The Florida drink and drive laws are very severe. Be cautious with the amount you drink during your flight. You'll be driving within an hour or so of landing. Remember that an open container of any alcoholic beverage in a vehicle violates Florida law.
We want you to have the best possible vacation. And in this video, we've tried to give you enough information to get you safely on the road. There may seem to be masses to remember, but we think you'll be surprised at just how quickly you get used to the driving here. Most visitors have a smooth running holiday, and so should you. Have a great time.